Welcome to the Pink Sunday Table Tennis tutorial of EmRatthich, a place to learn table tennis correctly and with fun. I am a table tennis coach in a small club in France. During my spare time in the weekend, I create videos to share with you my own experience about table tennis. That's why these videos are called as Pink Sunday, Ping Pong Tutorial on Sunday. Today I talk about using the booster speed glue tuner in table tennis. Boosting rubbers, especially for Chinese table tennis rubber, are very common. Not only professional table tennis players, but also amateur boost or tune their rubbers. What is speed glue? You may hear of speed glue. Speed glue is the glue that is used to fix the rubber to the racket, but it is not the normal glue. Speed glue contains a lot of VOC, volatile organic compounds. It is a mixture of 40% cyclohexane, 50% acetate butyl, and 6% natural rubber. It may also have the benzene ring and hexane. Why table tennis players use speed glue? Speed glue contains high volatile solvent vapor, which make the sponge of the rubber expand. This stretch the rubber, giving it a high tension. It is like adding the trampoline, making the rubber become more bouncy. The speed of the ball will increase about 10%, but the most important is the spin increase up to 20%. The effect will last between 3 to 5 hours. Then it would wear off, and the strike speed could be lost because the VOC gas has escaped away from the sponge.
To the speed glue effect lies in the rapid penetration of the organic solvent into the sponge layer. It inflates the microporous structure of the sponge layer, thickening it by between 3 and 10%. The thickening increases the storage modulus by up to 30% and reduces its loss modulus considerably, with the result that the bat is more elastic when it strikes the ball.
Is using speed glue safe? If you played table tennis before 2007-2008, you could remember that at the tournaments, hundreds of kids lining the corridor of the sport hall, gluing up their rackets and inhaling the fume. The hall is full of smelly organic compounds. Everybody just wants to get the fastest racket in the world. Once you started, it was impossible to stop, as if you didn't do it, your racket could be feel incredibly slow. ITTF decided to ban speed glue in September 2007 due to the health concern. The date has been moved back to the September 2008. However, after an unconfirmed health incident in Japan, ITTF banned immediately using speed glue in 2007.
It wasn't long before the negative effects of speed glue were attracting attention. The International Table Tennis Federation responded in early 1995 by announcing the prohibition of organic glues containing halide, benzene rings, and ethane.
ITTF is right. This is the composition of the VOC compounds in speed glue: cyclohexane, N-hexane, benzene, toluene. Do you know what does it mean, this pictogram? It is carcinogen pictogram. They not only contain hazardous vapor, but also carcinogen, a substance capable of causing cancer in living tissue, or cause mutation, genetic alteration, or effect on sexual functions, and target organ toxicity. Look, toluene and heptane are present in speed glue. These substances are carcinogen. If swallowed, immediately cause poison center. tolerant in speed glue. So stay away from speed glue. Don't inhale the vapor from the speed glue because it is aspiration hazard, cause cancer and organ toxicity. What is table tennis booster? Since speed glue is banned completely, ITTF applied the innate sample test box to detect the small amount of VOC released from the player racket. Table tennis players always want to boost to tune their racket to have a better effect. Some players try baby oil, paraffin oil, olive oil, and synthetic motor oil, but it didn't work great. And then, here comes the booster. It is called as booster, optimizer, expander, or tuner. Appeared at the end of 2007. This product applied to the sponge of the rubber to increase its thickness and give more speed and rotation to the ball. Not as much as the speed glue, but not far. Booster contain low volatile compounds mixed with some chemical oils. The booster is more viscous and absorbs slowly into the rubber sponge. Therefore, the boosting effect on the booster will last up to 3 to 4 weeks. Before 2005, Chinese state national team Wang Lijing, Kong Linghui, and others used DSP Noriko as the speed glue. However, since speed glue is banned, they are using booster now. The three most popular boosters in table tennis are Haifu booster, Dianchi booster, and Falco Tempo Long booster. Booster is legal or not? Using booster, tuner, expander, and speed glue is illegal in table tennis, ITTF has stated. The racket covering shall be used without any physical, chemical, or other treatment. Based on the rule, using booster will modify the playing properties of the rubber, so you are not allowed to use the booster chemical treatment in the official competition. However, using a factory-tuned rubber is allowed by ITTF. That means you cannot boost the table tennis rubber yourself, but you can buy a pre-tuned factory rubber. So if you have your own factory or your own rubber brand, you can use a so-called pre-tuned or factory-tuned rubber. That's why nowadays there are many factory-tuned or neo version of double happiness rubber. If you are the professional players and is sponsored by a table tennis company, you can ask them to boost and tune the rubber to your desired level. So until now, there are some tricks about using the booster in table tennis. The borderline of legal or illegal is not very clear. Is using table tennis booster detectable? Booster contains extremely low evaporation oil. The VOC rate is very low compared to ITTF detection limit 5 ppm, so until now using the booster is not detectable. To prepare for the Olympic Tokyo 2020, the Japanese Table Tennis Association (JTTA) is working with the Olympic Committee to develop the new protocol to control the racket. This action is to fight the using of the booster of Chinese table tennis players. Everyone knows that the top Chinese players use the booster, but it is not detectable.
Brands are legal. The next thing is one of the biggest topics that we have in table tennis right now. It's volatile organic compounds, which means things going in the air, gas, glue, rubber cleaner, anything else. And with this device, we are measuring that. This is called RAE, R-A-E. It's what the boys from the chemistry say it's a photoionization detector. That means the gas is becoming electronically charged and produces a current from one point to another, and you can measure in parts per million what the gas is that we get out of here. The rules say that the measurement will be 20 seconds for each rubber. We have a background level at first. This is 0.0 at the moment, indicating that no gas is in the room, and we only measure the difference for 20 seconds. And it looks like this is a very clean rubber side because it almost releases no gas. Okay, the 20 seconds is over. We had 0.0 at the beginning, 0.2 at the end, which is very good because the limit is 4.0. So we have only 5% of the limit. And this limit is already very, very small compared to the ENIS boxes we had until last year. They discovered things that are higher by the amount of factor 10. So to get all the tuners and boosters out of table tennis, this device was applied. And we do the same on the red side. The background reading start is 0.0. And again, 20 seconds. I have the stopwatch here. I think this is produced by a special company for environmental care, because normally it's used in environmental care and measurements, and for military uses also. And the ITTF has adopted it to table tennis in a light version to get it cheaper and to get it calibrated to the things we need to do here. So this is our very smart device we use from this year on during the next years, hopefully. Okay, the amount of gas released is almost nothing. It's very good. This is the most important thing that we have to do.
For me, I can easily know if a player boosts his rubber or not. Using booster or speed glue will make the sponge expanded. When you hit the ball, the sound is much louder, and the sound is like tap, pap, pap, high pitch noise. So using the booster is detectable by human experiences. Why Chinese players use the booster? During the China trials for WTTC 2011, Malay is caught using the booster in his hotel room in the CCTV5 reportage. There is also the footage so that Huang Lijin Fan Zhendong was using the racket control tester by ITTF. They want to make sure that their tuned Chinese table tennis rubber passed the test. Chinese table tennis rubber has a dense and very hard sponge. Hard sponge ensures that the power from the stroke is completely transferred to the ball. However, a very hard sponge is not easy to play. Chinese rubber needs to be break-in before using in the competition. Break-in is to make the sponge a little softer, less deadly, more elastic, and the best way to break in is using the booster. The booster will expand the sponge, inject the artificial tensor into the hard sponge. The sponge is now more elastic, 3 to 4 degrees softer. There are many advantages. The sound is louder, higher speed and higher spin. In conclusion, Chinese table tennis rubber is not very effective without using booster. That is the reason why Chinese table tennis players, not only professional level but also amateur level, use the booster to tune their Chinese rubbers. How Chinese players use the boosters. Using table tennis booster to expand the sponge of the rubber is easy. Before gluing, apply 1 to 2 layers of the booster to the sponge only. The booster will absorb slower to the sponge of the rubber. However, the boosting effect lasts longer than the speed glue. Wait for the booster absorb into the sponge for 6 to 10 hours. The sponge will now expand because of the chemical substance, so it will make a dome. This is normal. This is the way you introduce the artificial tensor to the sponge. The dome looks like this. Don't apply more than 3 layers. If you apply too much booster, your rubber will curve too much and it's very difficult to glue the rubber now. The sponge is also too mushy. You will lose the power to your shots. The booster will make the sponge softer to 3 to 4 degrees. That's why Chinese players always want to buy the harder version rubber to use with the booster. So if you can hit very hard and want to play with 39 degree Chinese hardness on your forehand, buy 41 to 42 degree. Chinese players also prefer a thinner version. They prefer 2.1 mm to 2.15 mm than the 2.2 and to 2.3 mm max, because thinner sponge offer more consistent shots and thinner sponge also expand easier with the booster. Is using booster harmful? Unlike the speed glue, which contain VOC, booster contain mostly oil and is nearly VOC free. Some people propose that booster is not harmful. Others propose that although there is certainly some truth in this, advances in booster technology have made them much safer. However, when I opened the bottle of Falco Long booster, I can feel the sweet smell of the oil. I said to myself, oh shit, and quickly took a mask. The sweet smell from the booster is very close to the smell of the synthesized petrol oil that I have known. Please note, natural oil like olive oil, colza oil is harmless, but chemical oil derived from petrol is toxic. The Table Tennis Federation in France has made a report about booster. They analyzed the composition of the 4 booster samples. The main composition of the booster is 3-decan, C13, alkyl hydrocarbon, colorless liquid or the gasoline-like combustible liquid used in various fuel and solvent in industry. This is 3-decan. As in the petroleum industry, the oil will contain additive and derivative. In the booster, there is also another hydrocarbon, C10 to C14, tetradecan, decan, and cyclohexane, the same component in the speed glue, and trichloroacetic. Trichloroacetic acid is considered a poison, may be fatal if absorbed, very corrosive, cause severe burn. Though decan is considered a harmful component, it can cause damage to the lungs if absorbed. Cyclohexane can cause cancer. This is the safety data sheet of chidecan, the main component in the booster. Look, it is toxic pictograms. And you need gloves, coats, mask, glasses to manipulate. Tridecan. Mice treated with the tridecan developed tumors on their back. Tridecan, look at the pictogram. It is carcinogen, cause cancer. On the chemical books, we got N-tridecan. Carcinogen may be fatal if swallowed and enter airways. If swallowed, immediately call a poison center. So even table tennis booster is nearly VOC free but still very harmful for your health. In industry or in the chemical laboratory, they manipulate this product with the mask and the gloves, but you, table tennis player, use your hand with a brush, apply this booster to your rubber every 3 months. You also let it dry in your living room during 24 hours and inhale this sweet smell. Should I use booster? What is the purpose of your table tennis? If you play table tennis to earn your life like the professional players, you have no choice. A little disadvantage can alter the result of the match. You can feel less confident. It is like if you can't beat them, join them. If you play table tennis to be healthy, for fun, stay away from the booster. You don't play for money. You get more risk from the hazardous effect than the reward of using the booster. Remember, you need to distinguish these two pictograms. The first one is curl and crossbone, toxic, like being exposed to acid. The effect can be seen right after. You know it and can treat it soon. But the second one is health hazard, carcinogen. The effect is not easily discovered after exposure, but 10 years or even 20 years later, it causes the cancer, but it is too late to cure. Listen to me. If you are the amateur players, play safe with your own health. Don't use the booster. If you play Chinese rubber, use the physical approach to break in the sponge, glue it correctly, hit very hard during 2 weeks, and then you can have an optimal hardness range that you want. That's it for today. If you like my videos, please help me to share it, or you can add the translation to non-English spoken audience. You can also offer me a coffee for my night. The link is in the video description below. See you next Sunday. EmRatThich.
I'm the boss. I'm the boss. Yeah. I'm very, very sorry.